guys, welcome to another wonderful episode of my favorite TV show. So, as you all know, my name is Gloria Regina, and today we'll be treating a very, very interesting topic. As you like usual, we always bring you interesting topic. So today we're in the studio.
My name is Ike Onyago, and I'm glad to be here in this stage.
I am Francis Chidera, and I am Goodness. So you are welcome. So today's topic is quite an interesting one: cohabitation, a necessity or irrelevant for a man and a woman who intend to get married. So I would like to ask this question: do you think cohabitation is actually necessary for an intending couple? Do you think it helps solve the problem or build more problem?
Well, talking about conversation, it's a common thing currently in our society today because a lot of people see it like it's a normal thing, but it shouldn't be. For me, even in Christendom, even the religious, it's not that well accepted because there should be a proper thing. Even culturally, it's not accepted. If you've not done anything, do the necessary thing which is supposed to. If not necessary, it's not supposed to. But common people see it as a common thing that you can stay together, and then I don't blame them because like they see it like the means of getting to know each other more, but that's not supposed to. So I didn't see it as necessity or relevance either.
Okay, issue of cohabitation. I believe this is very personal. Okay? Now, personal for the people involved. You have to look at it from a cultural standpoint, religious standpoint, look at it based on life experiences, based on individual goals and expectations. So that is a question you answer for yourself individually. But personally, I feel cohabitation is actually irrelevant. It is irrelevant because for people who are looking to get married, it is not a compatibility test. Marriage is something you look at from a standpoint of growth. Two people who are willing to grow together because um, staying together, living together over a short period of time doesn't equate that you are committed to this person. It doesn't mean that you know this person through and through. Because people change. Times, seasons will try you, and people will evolve, people will grow. So, living together, cohabiting with the intent of getting married doesn't necessarily equate to having a good marriage. So, I believe that it is totally irrelevant. Okay.
All right. Like my colleagues here said, cohabitation is whether it's irrelevant or necessary. I don't think it's necessary, and I also don't think it's relevant. Because like you said, it's a personal thing, it's a personal choice. But let's go on a general point of view, from the societal part of it, from Christian part of it. It is in Christianity mostly it is not accepted to cohabit before marriage. Now, cohabitation in the essence, like you said, is not a compatibility test. A lot of people feel that when you live together before marriage, it helps you get to know your partner. It helps you get to understand you better. Forgetting the fact that you don't really get to know someone 100%, no matter how long you guys stay together.
Of course.
But I must say something concerning this. When you're talking about, we are viewing it from Christendom, the religious aspect of it, and cultural aspect of it. But talking about the current, our modern age now, modern era, this, I think there is a reason why it is necessary.
Okay.
Because one is, people can pretend from afar. When you get it, well, there's one thing they said, familiarity gets one common. So when you get closer and closer to someone, and this is the person you are seeing, you see that that pretense might not last long. The great part of that person will start coming out because he's not seeing you as part of him or her. So the cohabitation is currently, I'm talking about in our modern era now, is necessary. in as much as people are taking advantage of it in the other side of it, but it's necessary because you get to know that person well. Even in as much as that person will try to pretend, but at a point, if he or she will show himself or herself.
Yeah, I'll have to disagree with you on that. It won't be necessary given that people pretend. There are people who actually cohabit together and they still remain pretentious until you change their status to married and then the true color comes out.
But most times when you talk about this now, people that didn't cohabitate and they get into marriage at a point they don't even live the last one in the marriage.
How about the fact that people date instead of court? You know, dating and courtship, they're entirely two different things.
Okay.
Yeah. So people are dating and it's just an open book. People just want to date, let's go with the flow, see how it goes. And they don't ask the necessary questions.
Okay.
A lot of people are more invested in dating than actually courting. You know, in courtship, there's an intent, there's an intention, and you're actually requiring the guidance of people who are older than you in the institution. Depending on your religious standpoint, you also have your spiritual advisors who guide you people, who expose you people to premarital counseling. Because people look at it like, okay, we date, they love each other, and then you just get married. And at the end of the day, you find out that your values don't align, your goals don't align. You don't have the same standpoint on parenting, you don't have the same standpoint on finances. So even during cohabitation, this pretentious nature you're talking about now, I believe it builds a skill called the complacency, where everybody is just relaxed. And because you've been living together for way too long, the next thing is just to slide into the marriage. And when the real problems that have to do with the marriage start coming up, there is no maturity to handle it.
Okay, like what you are saying now, it's a question of the age to date. Now, if you are up to date age, rather, and you are not thinking of getting close or getting married, I think cohabitation is not of low age, like below 18 years. Before you get to that stage of dating or courtship, you must have decided to get married to this person.
Okay, sorry, I beg to disagree. Okay, let me say, if you're talking about age, I think, like we all can see now, underage children nowadays, and it's what's the annoying part.
Age to get married.
There's no like
There's no right.
That's why
okay, like,
But generally, it's accepted 18 years
okay,
old. You're an adult. You
but if
understand?
you look at it from like our society now, you find out that even children, I will call them children, but below 18, they are still teenagers.
Yes.
They are dating. And you see a teenager living in the house, living in the same house with a guy she calls her boy. Now, what is the goal of cohabiting together? What exactly are you doing? What are you thinking? Are you expecting that, okay, because I move into his house, he's going to get married to me? And now, let's not forget that there is a lot of disadvantage that comes to cohabiting.
Well, there are disadvantages that comes with marriage, right? But then for intending couples, right? You see, let's say if a bride or a bride to be, right? They have paid a bride, right, and stuff like that. Or okay, she has just done introduction, right? And then her mom will advise her, go and live with this person that you intend to marry. And
No,
see
it's not
if
go and live. It's just like, okay, go and see. It's not like you're living together with him permanently. Like, okay, I remember when it happened, let me say my own case.
okay.
When I got married to my husband first, it was after the introduction, in fact, after the traditional wedding go, that is when I went to his house. We were talking, we were together. Do you understand? But I went to visit him on the short notice. It was just like a week or two.
But in this society, right, in this generation, I know of a classmate of mine when I was in school. She lived with the guy for, let's say, 2 years,
Okay.
and her parents were aware of it before she got married legally. I'm not even talking, okay, forget about the legal aspect, the traditional aspect.
Yeah.
So I would say it's more of what the society has accepted as a norm right now.
Do you not think that it's possible that there may have been red flags which she completely ignored?
Exactly.
Given the fact that people may think, oh, we have spoiled this girl, just marry her. people, their red flags you can just ignore because of what the society will think or what
For one
or pressure
parents,
around you
exactly.
or people will say because you've been living with this person. That's when the issue of complacency comes in.
Okay.
There's no intentionality anymore. That is why you see people they live together for 10 years, they marry, and then 2 years into the marriage, they're already asking out. They already want to.
Because they saw the red flags and still remain.
That's what we're saying now.
So-
Because of what the society will think. Complacency has
Because
gone.
you guys have been living together.
We're living together.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just what is expected.
Well, going back to the topic, the topic has it. We are diagnosed. It
Yes.
says who intends to marry.
Yes.
Now, these two people have already decided to marry.
Okay.
They already have intention of getting married soon, and they come together. Now, at a point, how about you? Okay, for instance, now I have a lady that I want to marry, get married to, and this person is staying far. And at the point when we get close, when we finally marry, and I now realize that this lady cannot cook, cannot do some certain things.
That is where the issue of guided courtship comes in. If you have somebody you are intending to marry, why not just go ahead and marry the person? Why try to destroy the
You know,
sanctity
in
of
this
marriage?
generation right now, you can't tell a man that I want to get okay, a man just I see a girl that wants to get married to you and then just take it to the house. And they can't
It's because we have
they won't
normalized.
accept
We
it.
are focusing on normalizing things that shouldn't be normal.
Now, look, take a look at this. How would you feel if you're a man and your wife is telling you to get a cook?
First of all, cooking is not gender specific. Let's start from there.
Okay.
Cooking is something everybody should know how to do for survival. Now, let's say eventually you marry a professional chef
Okay.
and she's pregnant or she's ill and she can't come around to making your meals. Are you going to starve because she's ill and she can't cook? So
Now,
that's the barest minimum anybody should know how to do. It's more to marry than having somebody cook for you and
no, I'm just giving it as an example. I'm not saying that that is necessarily the major thing.
I mean, there are
Now,
bigger things we should be
Now,
talking about.
when you're talking about
in this
when
age
you're
and time.
talking about cohabitation, there are some certain things a man is expecting from a woman and but like you said, is to get to know this person, how this person behave, and what. And at that point, that is where you get to correct your partner.
Yes, and you get to know if this person is a pig.
And at
But
that
kind of a
point,
thing.
that is where you get to know if both you and your partner is compatible enough to live together.
So let me just say something. I said earlier that marriage is a growth process. It is not a compatibility check. Let me break it down for you. This question of hygiene and all of that. Let's say a girl you meet a young lady, you want to marry her, you cohabit with her for some time, and she's 100% what you want. You eventually marry her. Remember when you married her, she didn't have children, she didn't have any baggage. It was just her all CC, looking good and all that. Now eventually, she hasn't been a mother before. She becomes a mother, she starts having children. Now you know that for some women during the breastfeeding stage, they tend to develop some kind of smell
Yes.
because of the breastfeeding stage. Now you start to see your wife has body odor. She's not able to put herself together anymore because she has to tend to the children and also tend to me. You start saying she's now different from what she was when you married her. Is that also didn't they cohabit together? So what changed? So that's where the growth mentality, growth mindset has to come in. Remember that you're aging, the person you married to, you should keep in mind that this person, there should be room for change, there should be room for growth. Because marriage will stretch you, marriage will test you.
So what you're trying to say is that cohabitation is not
It's
relevant.
not relevant.
But to the modern stage now,
Yes, that's where we are. We're talking about the
so
now.
it is.
Sorry,
The now.
this is cohabitation. For me, it's not relevant.
Okay.
My reasons are you're talking about the hygiene and the cooking part of it. Now I can also tell you that okay, let me use myself for religion now. If I am very, very if I really want to get married, like it's me that I want to get married, and I find a guy who tells me, okay, I like him, I want to marry you. and I come to your house, if I pack my things, I say, okay, let's
Because
go.
you want to buy
God's guy, I said,
Yes, one your husband.
no, let me tell you the facts here. I can actually pretend to be 100%.
It's not true.
Oh,
There could be a time
you have to
your
speak
kids
out.
are
I can pretend to be 100%. And a man, because he wants you as a lady, can actually hide his
Pretend,
character.
hide this character. What
Okay, let me say for instance, that a man that smokes. Let's come to that. A man that smokes. You know, not all smokers has black lips. Yeah. A man that smokes might actually, because he wants to marry, because he has this feeling.
not all that have that.
Wait, I said not
Yes,
all.
that's what
Not
she
all.
said. That's all.
Now, because even when living together, he can try to go to his friend's house and
and
sleep
so
because of
can
the
come
house.
back because you're in his house.
And when he comes back, he's not smelling it.
This habit can't be there. 6 months and straight.
Oh, it can.
It can.
When you go through when you go through premarital counseling, when you see people who are going through divorce and you hear them plead their cases, you hear things like, I lived with him for a year, he wasn't like this, he changed. So what happened? He changed his answer.
But most of those things you are talking about now might be, it could be that they never cohabitate.
Okay, sorry. So let's just hold it. Let's go on a short break. We'll be back. Thank you. Alright, welcome back. It has been a very, very interesting topic in the studio here. So moving on, let's talk about the implications. Because I think everything that has advantage also has disadvantage.
Yes.
So now let's talk. Let's quickly touch the advantage. Then we'll go to disadvantage. So, do you think there's any advantage in cohabiting?
Yes, there are a lot more. Like I said earlier, it's give reason of knowing your compatibility with your partner, then getting to know the person more, and it will give you a good guide to decide if you are going on with this person or not.
Okay.
Okay, you have the case conversation. I'll say I don't entirely agree because I believe that one's true character for people intending to marry is tested in commitment, not cohabitation. Now, you can actually be living with somebody, but you are not committed to that person in every sense of the word. And I think we have all gotten it wrong as a people. We forget or we have forgotten the real purpose of marriage. We forget that marriage is an institution of sanctity, and that sanctity should be maintained. And for people who are cohabiting and eventually get married, and then eventually they are faced with real life challenges, we're talking about issues that can break people, things like cohabitation won't teach you that infertility can break a marriage. Cohabitation won't change you that there are times where you're faced with unexpected financial loss or job loss, and that can actually spoil the whole thing you think you have learned about this person during your cohabitation. Cohabitation will tell you that at some point this person's views on life, important life matters that matter to you, something like your spiritual standpoint, your views on politics, even as trivial as that, can actually change your thinking. So while I strongly disagree or am not for cohabitation, I think people should be more focused on the important things, being intentional as to why you're actually getting married to this person. And that can be for during you can encourage premarital counseling for people because there are things the person may say otherwise, but the person's actions actually will prove otherwise. So that's my take.
Like, sorry, let me come in because you said something about commitment. You know, when you're talking about commitment, someone can program him or herself in a particular way that, okay, I want to be calling in the morning, in the afternoon, in the night, and be still doing some other things. So that is planning.
Commitment is beyond calling and commitment.
Okay.
It's beyond that.
So what do you mean by commitment?
Now, when you're committed to somebody, you're committed to that person's growth all around. So what happens? What changes? People get married. Okay, I see cases where you see a pregnant woman. She was beautiful before marriage. And after marriage, she loses her teeth after pregnancy, or she becomes ill due to complications of pregnancy. So don't you think that can change people even when they are cohabited together?
Okay, very nice.
Even
Yes, it's not what I
the
was
challenge will come in, it's for good, for bad, for better, for worse. And cohabitation will not teach you that. It's going with good intention that I'm committed to this person in good times and bad times.
You know one thing about cohabitation is like I said, familiarity gets more common. Like if you are not cohabitated, you are not together with this person, you won't okay, for instance now, if you both are not together and this person is coming from separate places and you get married, at a point I might get tired of you seeing you. Hold on,
okay, sorry, okay, sorry. Let me actually come in. Now, if you said because you guys are in mindset, now that is where that cohabitation comes in wrong.
Okay.
Because let me say, marriage is a lifetime process.
You can't know somebody and
It is a lifetime something, and this person is someone you're going to be seeing every day when you wake up.
Okay.
Do you understand? Now, when you start cohabiting, the reason for this, and the reason I feel that maybe Christianity actually emphasizes more on marriage stance because number one, after marriage, two of you come together, you start living together, you start getting to know yourselves, you grow together. Now, in cohabitation, when you guys are living together, let me say, okay, let me use the common word, see finish, you enter. Let me use the common word. Because, no, sorry. Because now, I live together with you. I feel like, okay, I see you. And let me not generalize because it's in both genders, it's in both the male and the female. Now, because I'm living with you every day. Most men, they feel like now you as a woman coming to live in a man's house when you're not yet married, you become a wife. Even when you're not yet a wife, you do the duties of a wife, of a cleaner, of a cook. You do those duties when you are not yet a wife. Now the man, now some men, let me not just I'm not generalizing. Some men now feel like I really want to marry this girl, but she has started now. Now she has done all these things. What am I even going to do now? I'm not doing anything. She has already done everything for me. Now you feel very comfortable.
yeah, that's why I said that. I said you intend to marry this.
You intend to. Why not marry the person? Why you pass through the process of
Why do you want to wipe your body before you actually
and at the end of the day, let's not forget this compatibility of the thing. Let's not forget when you're living together as a man and woman, it is a must be involved. You're not going to stay pure because we want to live together and we are going to get married. Let's not have
Without the cohabitation, won't they have together?
that's where intentionality comes
do
in.
you understand? Now, you guys have, and eventually, a man who intends to marry, maybe the reason he's holding back is not financially buoyant to actually go ahead with it. He's waiting for the money to come in, so I guess to sell. Now, in the process of you guys releasing it, pregnancy comes and it tells you that I don't actually have the money to care for a child now. Let's take it out. And because you already know that you have the plan of marrying him, you go ahead and take it out. The next one comes and you take it out. And at the end of the day, you might feel like, so we should not come to very
So you should have
you show this to people. And that is when someone will tell you that I've dated this guy for 10 years and at the end of the day, it's not enough for this man.
Is it something about it? Is it in the cohabitation era? Or
In the cohabitation,
but they see fish in marriage.
so that is what I'm saying. That is where the growth process comes in marriage.
Okay, let's look at this instance. People, like I said earlier when we started, I said this is an individual.
Yes.
You have to be very true to yourself. As what are your goals as a person. Now, people, there's no manual for marriage. The only manual that is there for marriage is that both of you have to be committed to be intentional to your growth.
Yes.
As your family expands. Or whether the children come or the family does not expand, just be committed to your growth as a pair or as a team. People get married for 20 years and split.
Exactly.
People live together for 10 years, they marry and stay on. People people don't cohabit and they split. People cohabit and they split. So the common ground or the common thing they have is people who are more intentional and people for what they want. People who are entering with the right mindset. People who have the right thinking or have the right ideology towards marriage and people that survive this. So we can't be encouraging cohabitation without teaching people what actually this institution called marriage is all about.
Well, like I have been listening and paying so much attention to what you're saying. It's not all about communication. It's all about understanding the love, the maturity. That is all it's all about. It's not about communication or not. Even without the communication, whatever that will happen will happen. So it's all about understanding and maturity. People who are matured enough, like I said earlier, we should have a stage. Not all age can go into that. So there are some certain age that will come into cohabitation and they have the understanding that to an extent that you see a husband and a wife, they are seeing themselves as like friends, best friend, not as husband and wife anymore. They see themselves as the best friend, and that's the best way of marriage. So whichever if this one is going wrong, yeah, my friend, you're not getting it. I expect to understand that this my friend is correcting me. But when they are not friends, even being in cohabitation or not, even in marriage, they can't get it up. So understand that's the major aspect of it, and the love, trust, endurance. If you be able to tolerate this person, if in or out of cohabitation, that's
And individual differences.
Okay, so
That's their choice.
so in conclusion to everything we said, cohabitation is a matter of choice. It's a personal decision. It's a matter of what you want or what you don't want. So, but I, for one, I strongly disagree against cohabitation. So you can actually contribute more to our topic. Go to our Facebook page at Serenity TV and do well to leave your comments, your suggestions, your opinions. Leave them on our page. God bless you. Thank you for watching.
thank you.